In the ancient Igbo kingdom of Umuokwe, there lives a wise and respected king named Eze Mmaduabuchi, a custodian of age-old values. Eze had spent his entire life teaching the people about the sacred ways of their ancestors. In his eyes, no wealth could match the value of integrity, no work, no tradition. As the ruler of Umuokwe, Eze Mmaduabuchi held his son Ikechukwu to the same standard, hoping that one day Ikechukwu would continue his legacy of honor. But as time passes, influences from outside the world begin to step into the once peaceful village. Foreign traders brought in tales of riches, amassed overnight. Young men returned home with quick fortunes, and the traditional apprenticeship, where a boy served under a master trade, was no longer appealing to the youths. This change stirs Ikechukwu's curiosity. He often found himself wandering the village square, listening to returning men talk about wealth beyond imagination. One day, Ikechukwu's friend introduced him to a man named Ocho, a self-made businessman who had mysteriously acquired wealth. Ocho took a liking to Ikechukwu and pulled him aside, whispering, "My son, there are quicker paths to success than your father has told you. Money doesn't care how it's earned. With me, you will never have to wait. Riches can be yours now." At first, Ikechukwu hesitated, for he knew Eze Mmaduabuchi would never approve. But Ocho's words took root in his heart, filling him with a hunger for instant wealth. He returned home, weighed down with the possibilities that could be his if he pursued this new path. That night, his sleep was disturbed by dreams of treasures, palaces, and endless admirations. The next morning, he decided to join Ocho in the search for riches. However, he made a pact with himself. He would keep his new life a secret from his father, at least until he had secured his fortune. Ikechukwu's descent into this world of deceit began slowly. First, it was just small scams, deceptive deals that promised a quick profit. Then, as his greed grew, he found himself taking part in fraudulent schemes far beyond his moral threshold. With each success, his wealth increased, and so did this confidence. Eventually, he brought home extravagant gifts for his family, even managing to buy his father a robe made of the finest fabric, a luxury that only few kings possess. Eze Mmaduabuchi was suspicious. He could see the change in his son, the secrecy and the expensive gifts, but he allowed himself to be Ikechukwu's assurances. "It's just business, father," Ikechukwu would say with a forced smile. Though he tried to ignore his doubts, Eze felt something was amiss. Months went by, and Ikechukwu's wealth seems to multiplying overnight. His home transformed from a modest dwelling into a grand mansion with towering walls and glittering decor, and his name became known throughout the kingdom as one of the wealthiest young men. But while his father's people admired Ikechukwu's success, whispers begin to spread that his fortune came from the dark source. One evening, as the moon cast long shadow over the kingdom, a group of young men from the village came to Eze Mmaduabuchi. They knelt before him, eyes filled with sorrows. "Your son Ikechukwu is no longer a man of honor," they said. "He walks the path of darkness, sacrificing truth and the life of others for his gain. He even turned to rituals. Eze Mmaduabuchi, we must not let this shame go unchecked." Eze's heart sank. He could hardly believe it, but the rumors aligned with the changes he had seen in his son. That night, he confronted Ikechukwu, demanding the truth. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Ikechukwu admitted to his father that his wealth was not earned through the honest means their people valued. Instead, he had aligned himself with Ocho's gang, using deceit and eventually dark rituals to amass his fortune. Despite his heartbreak, Eze gave Ikechukwu one chance to redeem himself. "Abandon this path, my son," he pleaded. "We may lose our wealth, but we will regain our honor. That is what truly matters." But Ikechukwu laughed bitterly. "Father, your honor is worth nothing in the eyes of the world. They only respect wealth. The days of your honor traditions are over. I have chosen my path, and it has made us the richest family in this kingdom." In the days that followed, Ikechukwu's downfall began to unfold. The wealth he had amassed drew the attention of his dark business partners, who demanded even greater sacrifice to sustain his riches. He was instructed to bring a human sacrifice, a boy from his own village, to cement his position. Though he tried to resist, his desperation led him to abduct a young boy under the guise of promising him a better future. But as the fate would have it, Ikechukwu was caught in the act. The village erupted in horror and disbelief. Man and woman stormed Eze Mmaduabuchi's palace, demanding justice for the boy. In an emergency council, the elders gathered to decide Ikechukwu's fate, with Eze Mmaduabuchi presiding over his own son's judgment. The council declared Ikechukwu guilty, condemning him to exile. His wealth was confiscated, his possessions were destroyed, and the people were ordered never to speak his name again. As he was led away, Ikechukwu turned to his father one last time. "You too are to be blamed for this," he spat. "You accepted my gifts. Even though you adopted me, you wanted the wealth just as much as I did." Eze Mmaduabuchi was left with nothing but the ashes of his shattered legacy. His palace, once filled with laughter and pride, became a desolate, empty shell. The village shunned him, convinced that his indulgence had encouraged Ikechukwu's path to reign. In the end, the king spent his days in sorrow and reflection, mourning not only his lost son, but also the trust of his people. He realized that he too had strayed from his ancestors' teaching by allowing himself to be swayed by the allure of wealth over integrity. As years passed, Umuokwe recovered, its people vowing to uphold the teachings that had once made them strong. No parent accepted a gift without questioning its source, and young men returned to their apprenticeship, rebuilding the reputation of the Igbo people. The tales of Ikechukwu's folly became a warning, reminding the young of the dangers of forsaking traditions for the sake of quick wealth. Eze Mmaduabuchi's story was retold for generations, a haunting reminder of what happens when a parent's love is tainted by the temptation of wealth. In the end, his legacy became a lesson that was passed down, a beacon guiding the Igbo people back to their roof, and reminding them that true wealth is found in a life lived with honor and purpose.